Hello, this is Jim Duffy of Refining Fire Chiles. Welcome to our informational and educational video series we call Peppers 101 here on our YouTube channel. If you stick around and watch our videos through the year in 2023, which is the beginning of our series, is 2023, you will learn more about chilies than you've ever learned before. We have the largest educational and informational video series on YouTube. Now, that doesn't mean there's YouTube people that have eaten chilies, like just eat chilies and talk about them for a few moments, how much it burns them, blah, 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 etc., etc. This is designed to be a more educational series to give you more background on each of the peppers that we grow or have grown, in the hopes that you will be encouraged and inspired to grow more types of chilies, eat different types of chilies, and share the chili love with your friends, your neighbors, your co-workers, your family. That is our hope. So, we hope to, by the end of 2023, have over 120 videos on chilies. So please subscribe, hit the bell notification so when new videos come up, you can learn more about different kinds of chilies, and please share the channel with others. With that being said, let's go to our public service announcement. Our public service announcement is this, and I hope it doesn't offend you because you're going to hear it on a lot of the videos. Get your children into the garden. Having your children partake of you growing a garden is a wonderful thing. It will shape their self-confidence, their character, their work ethic. And just imagine a small child, and that doesn't mean you don't do this if you just got teenagers. Get your teenagers out there. You know, it might benefit them to put their phone down or get away from the TV or their tablet. I think it would. It's my opinion. Anyhow, get your children out into the garden so they can see the miracle of something growing from a seed all the way to a plant, and then a plant that bears fruit or vegetables. Then take it one step further and bring them into the kitchen and make food with your stuff from with your harvest from your garden, and let them help you with making the food. Now, I know a lot of you are busy parents and you work a job. Today's economy, both parents usually work. Years ago when I was growing up, only one parent worked. But you know what? There's always time for a garden. You could just spend 15 minutes a day out in it. And then you're going to make food, you're going to eat food. So why not learn how to cook more types of food, especially food with flavorful chilies? Chilies are one of the most diverse vegetables on the planet. Probably the most diverse. There's probably more flavor profiles in chili peppers than there are in any other vegetable. As far as I know, your child will not forget this. And you know what? It's proven that parents who spend time with their children, and spending time isn't just sitting watching a movie with them or being out in the stands where they're playing some sports. Spending time with them is doing things with them, actually being at their side, doing things with them. They'll love you more for it. They'll grow up to be a better adult. I can't say just how much it'll impact their life. It will impact their life a great deal. Learning to grow food and prepare food and make food is a good thing. And if you're not that great of a cook, lots of videos on YouTube now that I didn't have when I was a kid. So you can go on there and just follow step by step what they do and make good food. That being said, let's get to this chili here. This is the Bhutlah Scorpion. What is the Bhutlah Scorpion? Over a decade ago, a grower named Chad Selesky, that well-respected grower from Wisconsin, friend of mine, personal friend of mine, crossed 7-pot Douglas with the Bhutlah, and that was called the Bhutlah. And the first version he got was red, and then later on, some people who grew it later on got brown versions, or we call chocolate versions, called the chocolate Bhutlah. And then Chad crossed Bhutlahs with bubblegum, 7-pot bubblegums and other varieties and everything. And so there's a lot of crosses to come out of it. And a lot of them I don't even grow anymore because there's not much interest in them anymore. And that's the sad thing about most crossbreeds in the super hot realm, is that they're popular for a few years and then they die out. Now, when Chad first started making crosses, there weren't a lot of people making crosses. So, people were interested in something he made for, a good 5 or 6 years or more. And still some of them today. The Bhutlah is still popular today, at least the chocolate Bhutlah is. But a lot of the other Bhutlah crosses I have dropped from my catalog. However, I have not dropped this one. And this is the Bhutlah Scorpion. And why is it called the Bhutlah Scorpion? Because this is a variant that comes out and gives more of a scorpion shape. Now, they don't get long tails on them like other scorpions, but they kind of get that scorpion shape. Okay? So that's why it's called the Bhutlah Scorpion. It's extremely hot, way too hot for me. It's probably one of the hottest super hot peppers around. No, there are not studies done by universities or official Scoville ratings. Do you know that Scoville ratings are a lie? Well, they're not a total lie, but you have to understand that when you're eating a pepper and you think it's 1,300,000 Scoville units because somebody did a test or two on it, or even has a record on it, that it's bullshit. Because you could take another pepper off that plant and it might be only 700,000. Then you could take another one and it might be 850. So basically, numbers for records are for marketing. A person just keeps on testing and testing and testing until they get the number they like, and then they submit it for a record, whether it's with Guinness or someone else. And then you, the consumer, who's ignorant of these things, well, not all of you are ignorant. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Buy that pepper or grow that pepper or buy that sauce with that pepper in it and say, look, I got this hot sauce with a 2 million Scoville unit hot sauce. And you don't. Because peppers vary from pepper to pepper, from plant to plant, from season to season. And I will stand by that almost any red or brown super hot, which are the hottest types in the world, can beat each other on any given day. And if you want real average numbers of a pepper, you've got to grow out probably about 100 plants and select from different areas of each plant, from each plant, and then run numbers on tests on all of them. And if you really want to be truly accurate, because every season varies, one season might have more rain, one season might have a hotter summer, you will do that a couple of years in a row and then get the average number. Then you'll have a true average. Because every season can change the pepper. So one year you might hit peak numbers of blah, blah, blah. And then another year you might hit peak numbers of lower. And then you just got to average it all out. That's the true number of a pepper. As close as you can get it. This is the truth, folks. If you want to hear BS, and you want your butt patted, or you want to be pat it on your butt or your head and say, that's a good boy, that's a good girl, believe what I say, then you'll have to go listen to someone else, because you're not going to get that from me. You're going to get truth from me. And the truth is, when someone says something is a certain amount of Scoville units, it's one of the numbers. It's not the real average. If you want a real average, you're going to grow a ton of plants like universities do, and then you're going to do a study on an average on that. And if you really want a true average, you'll do that study a couple of years in a row, because every season will affect the pepper differently. And you'll grow it in the same soil with the same nutrients. Everything same. Okay? So all of you that go out and buy products or even grow peppers because you hear a number, well, you're not that bright. You've been fooled. So you're not actually getting that number. You're not. And there's no way of knowing you get that number, because you know why? You can't test a pepper and then eat it. In order to test a pepper, you have to dry it into powder and then run it through a chromatography machine. Then you can't go turn it back into a whole pepper again for you to eat. So whatever you're eating, you couldn't test anyway. Unless it's in powder form. And you did a sample of that powder, and then you ate the rest of the powder in your food. Then you could say, I had that number because you got it from that pepper. Kind of silly, isn't it? Anyway, for the most part, if you're going to grow super hots, the best super hots to grow are the ones that have a really good flavor. If your idea of fun is trying not to puke and having as much pain as possible, then you're really not a chili head. You're a thrill seeker. But that's okay, because it's part of the chili pepper world. And that part of the chili pepper world brings attention to the peppers that are really flavorful. So I am not against those people who do challenges and eat all the hottest stuff in the world, because they bring attention to all chilies. And that's a good thing. And if they want to suffer, then go ahead and suffer. But a true chili head knows about flavor and knows how to make foods with flavor or hot sauces with flavor, and seeks out those kind of peppers that have flavor, whether they're super hot or whether they're mild or whether they're sweet. So this is the Bhutlah Scorpion. It is very, very productive, but I want to show you some variations, because a lot of people will just show you their best pod. Now this would be an example of a best pod, more of a kind of a scorpion shape, even though there's no tail. Nice and bumpy. See, nice and bumpy. But on their website or in their photos that they put on social media, like I do, they probably won't show you the one that's elongated and more plain and smoother and more look like a naga. Because remember, the Bhutlah has naga buchalokia in its genetics. It's the original cross. Here's a nice one right here. This is more, has the scorpion look. So you're going to get some peppers that are a little elongated. In other words, you're not going to get the kind of more scorpion look on them that you will throughout the plant. You're just not going to get it. Even on regular Butch T scorpions or Trinidad scorpions, you don't get a true scorpion look on all the peppers. There's always going to be variations, so keep that in mind. So if you ever see my posts on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, I try to show multiple photos of peppers on the plant and off the plant, so you can see all the variations, and that's transparency. And a lot of other seed sellers don't. They'll show you the one best pepper in the palm of their hand or on a plate and go, this is what it is. And then you get disappointed because all your peppers don't look like that. Keep in mind, all super hots, especially crosses, are going to have variations. So this pepper, the Bhutlah Scorpion, has some fruity tones. The plants get between 4 and 5 feet tall. They're very productive. They're extremely hot. They've got a nice thicker flesh than most super hots, unlike the Reaper and others that have thin flesh, or the Primatali that have very thin flesh. So you get a lot more meat, which means more pepper. Okay? And these, as you can see, get a pretty good size. Okay? So this is the Bhutlah Scorpion, created by Chad Selesky of Wisconsin. Well, it's a variant of the Bhutlah. He didn't create a scorpion cross. He created the Bhutlah, and this is one of the variants. Now, this is what you could call a phenotype. A phenotype is when you have a plant that produces a whole bunch of stuff that's totally different from the original, not a pod that varies here and there. That's not a phenotype. Phenotype is when you grow something and everything on that plant, or most everything, looks totally different than the original. That's a phenotype, just for FYI. So this is the Bhutlah Scorpion, and be smart. Don't pay attention to records or numbers, because it varies so much. And people are just pushing that information out there for marketing, to either make themselves look cool or to make more money. And I'm not against making money, but I'm just saying that's what they're doing. But this is a great red super hot to grow, the Bhutlah Scorpion. And this is Jim Duffy, Refining Fire Chilies, and I hope you've learned something new about chilies today. Share the channel, hit the bell notification so you'll know when other videos come up. And please like the video. That helps us with YouTube. Take care.